This is why I collect Pokemon. There's always a set that comes along like once or twice a year that I just get addicted to no end. And I don't know what it is or why it is, but this one's one of them. And I have opened a lot, and my pull rates, here's my problem. I can't figure out if the pull rates are good or bad.
That's bad. And so it should be almost a binary. Did I get the card that I wanted within the first $100 that I spent? Yes or no? If no, buy the card that you want. If yes, stop buying the set. Like that should be how it works. I get it when you're a degenerate, but a degenerate would mean that if you can find packs anywhere for under $5 a pack, you buy as many as you can and you just rip those. But in this environment, I mean, how many 2-packs and 3-packs have you opened? Do you know?
I've done at least too many to displays.
Bro, you're past 250 packs on this set. You left 250 packs in the dust quantitatively. So 250 packs, how many SIRs?
5.
One every 50.
That's what I'm saying. I can't figure out if the pull rates are good or bad because you're not pulling exactly what you want, but you're pulling something. So it's like it gives you hope.
Okay, you've been catching a lot of grief here because I think you went on record to say that Ascended Heroes would be like Crown Zenith.
Yeah, I did say that.
But didn't you also say Prismatic would be like Crown Zenith? And didn't you also say that...
No, I said I hope Prismatic
Black
would
Bolt
be like
and White Flare would be Crown Zenith? Is that kind of like you're crying wolf, but now it's maybe happening?
I don't know what's happening anymore.
Okay, yeah. All you can see are wrappers and dollar bills.
Okay. Anyways.
All right. Well, welcome to podcast episode 7.
Episode 7.
Yep. The Minty Road. So, no Travis today. Travis has caught this weird illness that's going around, cold or flu or whatever, that sidelines you for 24 to 72 hours. So we'll be missing him, but we got stuff that we wanted to talk about. So there was some
buyout.
Yeah, there was some action some corporate strategery that occurred that was announced where Pokemon purchased a distribution company. Also wanted to talk a little bit about Ninja Spinner. The Pokemon company held their Japanese version of a regional,
Chaos Rising.
And they released some cards there. Chaos Rising, Ninja Spinner in Japanese, and then, of course, everybody's favorite section, Tinker Time. And so,
Tinker Time!
Yep, so let's run through this. Okay. Let's talk through this purchase of Excel release.
So, for those who don't know, Pokemon did purchase Excel, or is in the process of purchasing Excel. I'm not sure if it's happened yet exactly.
Yeah, let me look at that.
But what this will do, basically owning Excel is going to allow TPCI, to gain greater control over product allocation and retail pricing.
Okay, wait. Before we dive too deep, let's bring it back because I don't know the business acumen of most of our listeners, right? So the announcement that happened on February 19th communicated, the Pokemon Company International today announced that it has entered into a definitive agreement to acquire Excel Brands, a leading U.S. distributor and category management service provider of trading cards and collectibles. This transaction is expected to close subject to regulatory approvals and customary closing conditions. Okay, so first of all, nothing will change for probably a year. There will be no change on the landscape. And somebody wearing a tinfoil hat will say something along the lines of, well, this was because Pokemon... They've got to finish the merger, and they've got to do all of the legal paperwork. They have to get regulatory sign-off, and I don't know how many of you are aware, our government does not move very fast. So there has to be a sign off there. They have to make sure that monopolization is not happening, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then they have to have the transition of the people that are coming in from Pokemon to overlap on a job in Excel, because they have to make sure that Excel continues to do what they're doing. So you've got the time period between February 19th and when the merger happens. That's time frame number one. Time frame number two is the ramp up for Pokemon International employees to understand the Excel brand business. And so whether they change it or not, it can't just stop running. It has to continue to run. So there'll be that ramp up period. And then once Excel is running as well as they want it to, the third time period will be when change occurs, when there's impact there. So we're about to talk through, hey, what this could look like, what the landscape looks like moving forward. But I want to put a big asterisk at the start of this, a big disclosure that states, I don't know how far away we are from it, but we're talking about a $200 billion plus company in Pokemon buying one of the largest distributors in the United States. This isn't something that happens where we see impact relatively quick. And my gut says we're probably 18 to 24 months out before we see some level of change. And I will try to validate that thought process by, when did Pokemon buy the printing company?
I was just about to say, in my opinion, this all lines up with the North Carolina printing facility that they're cooking up for 2028.
Okay, that timeline that we've discussed prior makes sense. They bought...
Or 2027. Was it 2028 or 20...
So they bought Millennium in April of 22. Mm-hmm. And Millennium is who prints most of their stuff. That's the North Carolina company. Now, recently, at the end of last year, beginning of this year, whichever one it was, they signed the largest lease for commercial space, right, in the U.S. with Millennium to build a whole new thing. And we talked through that in the time frame there. But they purchased Millennium in April of 22. They didn't announce any change to what was happening until 2025 or 2026. So that's like a 3-year span, almost 4 years, 3.5 year to 4 year span before anything changed. So if we applied that here, we'd be in a similar environment where we're 3.5 to 4 years out from seeing any movement made post-purchase of Excel. So, okay, so there's a time frame. There's the time frame, trying to level set our expectations there. All right, what is Excel, Jack?
All right, what is Excel?
What is Excel?
It's a distribution company.
Okay, is it a distribution company that local card shops have access to?
No. Okay. It is big box store that goes to Target, mainly Target. That's the big one I know of. They do a little bit of Walmart. I learned that over the past week. I thought MJ Holdings was exclusive to Walmart, but I guess they do have their hands in Walmart a little bit. And Barnes & Noble, what was the other one? Walgreens, CVS, those companies are your Excel distributors.
Okay, and they are based in Des Moines, Iowa. They were founded in 96-ish, 95, 96, so that's going to put
right around the same time as Pokemon startup.
So from their website, they service over 18,000 retail storefronts. Their core business is they provide comprehensive management of impulse trend items and trading cards. Impulse trend items is interesting because that's gonna be like your Funko Pops and stuff like that. But
well, it says that they also do Magic the Gathering, Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh. Like they distribute all the other. So
yeah, they do product placement, stock, display resets.
Oh, they do Amazon.
Oh wow!
It says they do Amazon too.
Okay.
So Excel's retail partners include Target, Walmart, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, CVS, Walgreens, and more.
So when we have talked about distributors, we have like 6 distributors that we use that are at this level. And then we've talked about MJ Holdings. Excel feels like they're probably bigger than MJ Holdings, but MJ and Excel are higher than what we are from a distributor level. So the distributors that we have access to, MJ and Excel are not distributing to local card stores. They're distributing to big box retail stores.
Right.
And if you happen upon a Target or one of those stores on a restock day, or you go past their trash bins on a restock day, you'll see Excel brands boxes. Okay, so Excel's kind of big. So In the announcement, Pokemon International cited increasing expectations around fulfillment and customer experience as a motivation. This acquisition represents further vertical integration for TPCI, adding retail distribution to its existing publishing and printing operations. Okay, so we have that piece. Question, kind of a setup. Do they distribute to GameStop?
I don't know.
Okay.
If I had to guess, I would say no.
Okay, I think they do because there was news today. We may have to cut this because it's a leak, but
that would be crazy interesting considering GameStop hiking everything up to market price.
Early leak, Pokemon Center is coming to GameStop stores across America. GameStop becomes the exclusive retail dealer for Pokemon product. Dedicated Pokemon Center section in stores, controlled drops to kill scalping, real access for kids and collectors. Less Funko, more Pokemon, Lego, and gaming, and more community-driven retail. This isn't just product change, it's a full reset of how Pokemon reaches fans in the U.S. If this is true, GameStop has just turned thousands of stores into the biggest Pokemon distribution network in the country. So if Excel already distributes to GameStop, someone in the comments or someone who works at GameStop could confirm or deny that just based on what the boxes say when they get their product. And then we already know that of all of the big box stores, GameStop's leadership has this desire to do niche things like partner with PSA and do mystery bags of PSA slabs and buy PSA slabs. And they're one of the first places outside of local community card stores that do send-offs to PSA. So Pokemon is kind of already past the line from being just a video game store into trying to replace local card shops and be a already franchised network in place for local card shops. And they strike a deal with Pokemon, then all of a sudden you're going to have a scenario where even with all the recent closings at GameStop, there's still plenty of them, that you've got these GameStops that are going to be, for lack of a better term, little pop-up Pokemon centers every time there's a release. And so when we receive an email as consumers from Pokemon Center that says, oh, look, we've got a new 84-inch Snorlax that's $449, they could get those in store.
I don't see a scenario where Pokemon goes... What grabbed me there and what you said was exclusive Pokemon retailer.
Pokemon Center. Are they going to sell Pokemon Center ETBs?
Okay, so that maybe that could happen. But I don't see a scenario where Pokemon puts all their eggs in one basket like that and they don't continue to supply big box stores and diversify and do what they're doing already. It's not for Pokemon, it's not like what they're doing doesn't work. They're making the money they want to make. They don't They say they're trying to make things better for the customer and everything, but they probably don't care that much as much money as they're making.
So we had this conversation last week inside the store. If you think, dear listener, if you think that a $250 billion plus multinational corporation cares about the secondary market of what Pokemon is, if you think that they care that Evolving Skies single packs are $50 a piece or $40 a piece or whatever they are, or that a booster box is $2,500, or that a sealed case of Evolving Skies booster boxes is $15,000. I think you're sorely mistaken. Pause. That's an older product, right? I think they do care about a new set dropping on January 30th and people not getting it. I think they do because of public opinion. I
agree.
I don't think they care that you can't get your hands on Destin Rivals in February or March of 2026. I don't. They printed it, and we tried to back into it. We might be wrong here, but just the best guess that we've got is for the ETBs of Ascended Heroes. I think they printed those 9 months ago, which puts us in May of 2025. So as the market was just going bonkers in the secondary marketplace in 2025 for Pokemon, they were printing Ascended Heroes. And so I think they care from a public perception standpoint that people can't get a hold of their product. But there is someone there at the company who is making high-level decisions that all they're looking at is, we printed 1 billion Ascended Heroes cards, which is however many packs, which is however many products, and we have 0 of those products sitting in our inventory because when they print a card, the difference of cost for them when they're on a scale of 1 billion of a SIR versus a common is not different. And whatever the cost is, they've already evaluated what their margin needs to be. And so when their margin is accomplished by what they sell it for, they don't care past that, right? Because they're big. They're not selling one pack for $1 million. They're selling 1 billion cards at 10 cents a card or whatever it is, 45 cents a card.
Right.
And so this is the type of scale where you are making an entire quarter's worth of revenue off of 0.75 cents of efficiency gain. A. B. Japanese companies typically don't just raise prices to raise prices. They typically drive increased bottom line numbers by improving efficiency. Go look up in production how Kaizen as a movement does things and how Toyota, the Toyota way does things. They didn't increase the cost of their product. They increased the efficiency of their manufacturing process. So all that to be said, I don't think they care about quote unquote scalpers who buy product on PokemonCenter.com and then sell it. I don't think they care there. I think because up until about a year ago, you could still buy an Astral Radiance Pokemon Center ETB on Pokemon, and Astral had already been out for 3 years, 2 years.
Yeah.
So I don't think they care about that.
I mean, you're talking anything pre-prismatic, right? Like anything on the Pokemon Center is still available. Shrouded Fable ETBs were sitting on the Pokemon Center for months and months and months, and nobody would go and buy them out. They do have the queue system they put in place. I don't remember when they put that into place, but they do little minimal things like that to show they kind of care. I
Yeah,
guess.
the public perception is really important.
Right.
And for an American company, it might be the number one thing that drives is public perception. That might be the number one thing that drives corporate policy. For a non-American company, it's usually not. Whoever's in charge of public relations and public-facing policy has a huge voice in America, in an American-based company. In an EU company or a Indian company or a Chinese, Japanese, Micronesia, Australian, those public-facing things, the public-facing rules, they don't have as much authority in corporate policy, generally speaking. It doesn't mean there's not outliers, but they generally want to accomplish what the company wants to do. And so Japan is rich in culture there. And a good example of that is, and sorry, this is a little bit of a rabbit hole, but do you remember at the World Championships where they disqualified someone who had just won a quarterfinal match? Yes. And was getting ready to go into the semifinal match.
Yes.
And they disqualified him, and the rules state that a specific thing should have been done, and that specific thing was not followed, and they went ahead and put somebody else in that position to go ahead and play. There is no, maybe I'm wrong, I don't think so. There is no public response from Pokemon at all about that event. There's no notice of it. There's no community. If that was the NBA, even if that was, I'm trying to think of something that has a relatively same fan base account. If that was like, I don't know, an Apex tournament or a Rocket League tournament, whoever was the tournament organizer is going to get crucified. And to be fair, Twitter tried to crucify Pokemon. They just don't care, right? So they don't do things the way that we do. And that is part of proving the point that for those of you that are sitting in your pity party about not being able to get product, that's a real thing. And I know that it sucks, and I know you feel bad. I'm not saying that having a pity party is bad, but that when you're having that, thinking that Pokemon cares about you is false. They don't. What they care about is being able to maximize their revenue. That is the number one goal of Pokemon Company International, is to maximize revenue. Now, they can put these other things up there that they care about children, or they care about collectors, or they care all this sort of stuff. Those are all secondary to making money. That is what a company does. They exist to make money, and they exist to make their shareholders more wealthy. That is the whole purpose of a company. And so through that, they bought the printing company in 2022. They've now bought a distributor. Mm-hmm. So they must recognize some giant inefficiencies in how things are done in the United States of America and have decided to expend some capital to take advantage of those inefficiencies, which is what I feel to be the play here. Jack, you kind of outlined, hey, here's part of a game plan. TPCI is expected to continue distributing Pokemon through other U.S. distributors. Excel operates in the same space as MJ Holdings, meaning the acquisition gives TPCI greater influence over how product flows to big box retailers and their shelves, though not full control of the U.S. distribution network. Excel's partners include, you already said this, Target, Walmart, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, CVS, Walgreens, and more. And they distribute other things. What are the preconditions for Pokemon to do what they've done? What are they? Why did they do what they did?
Yeah, what's the clutch?
So from a pure business standpoint, I stated it, which is there is some level of inefficiency for distributorship in the United States that they felt worthy of, and we don't know the amount, of expending X amount of capital to try to take advantage of. And I'm not trying to be negative to Pokemon. I think they're a great company. I think they do. But I'm trying to ground us in the fact that generally speaking, unless you're a 501c3 in the United States, which doesn't give you this, all-encompassing umbrella, but you exist purely to make profit. And so they exist purely to make profit. That's their whole motivating factor. And so through probably a high level of econometrics and analytics, they decided that whatever this inefficiency that exists in the United States, they can capitalize on and make money based on their process. And so it took 4-ish years for us to see anything major come from the acquisition of the printing of the cards company, Millennium Print Group. They've now recognized and communicated through, though they have to go through the proper channels, to be able to buy Tier A distribution company. With the time frame that we discussed prior about the new commercial lease for the printing company, this may give them, and I was talking about this with Jack, on the website for the distribution company, they communicate the ability to replenish inventory. Now that just may be a fancy word. My head immediately goes to, if I'm replenishing something as a distribution company, then I'm tied into what the inventory levels are of that institution so that I can simply save the time of someone going and checking their inventory system and requesting, I need 12 Umbreon Funkos, I need 6 Jolteons, I need 6 Absols or whatever. But because the distributor's system is already plugged into my inventory system as a Walmart or a Target, that it knows.
They should already know.
And there's a little bit, one more step there too, is given enough access, a simple program math calculation can tell you how much time you have left with the inventory that you have until you don't have any inventory, right? How many have you sold? How many days has it taken you to sold that? Divide that number, and that tells you what your average days of inventory is. And when that gets below some random number that you could choose or the distributor could choose, they simply send you an email that says, confirm to buy your 12 Umbreons and your 6 Jolteons and your 3 Sobble Funko Pops. Or we recognize that you brought in 6 different SKUs of Pokemon product and they sold out in 2 hours. We're going to press the button to print more of that product, and it will ship directly from Millennium Print Group to you. It will have our invoice on it. Click OK to pay us now, and then you could see, I'm just making this up, but you could see an environment where you're, 7 to 12 days out from being printed on demand. Pause for a second before you respond to that, because it's crazy. Think about the fact that you would buy a in-print product, Ascended Heroes, and all of these big box stores sell out within minutes, let alone hours. And then the printing company just immediately that day prints more of it, packages it in whatever product SKU they're going to, and then sends it directly to you. Remember books? Remember what a big deal it was to be published?
Yeah.
Right? When we were kids, if you met an author, that was kind of like a big deal because it had to go through this big, long, drawn-out process. Now, you write a book digitally, and you upload it to Amazon, and you figure out what the cover art is, and Amazon has an opportunity that when someone buys that book, it prints it, and it binds it, and it sends it to you. And so the whole book industry, which books have been around since the late 1400s in the printing press, right? Like, got revolutionized within the last 10 years. Why couldn't we see something like that from Pokemon?
I just feel like there's a lot of manpower that would have to go into that. I mean, think about it.
Okay, what else? Time. You also have to have time.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't just go hire 40,000 people or whatever.
Yeah.
But
it would have to be ready on the drop of a dime to be like, hey, this store needs this.
I know that as a non-developer in the last 2 years, year and a half, that free, non-paid tools available to me, non-developer guy, I grew up in the 90s with dial-up internet, so I am familiar with computers, that I can go someplace online, whether it's Grok or Gemini or Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, and get their help creating some probably not great efficient code to be able to have a plugin that exists that tells me what my average days of inventory is for each SKU. We have that.
We have it. I mean, yeah.
We have it. And we're not developers. Okay, so imagine it being a $288 billion company. Okay, so you would assume that if we have it, because we're not that, that they have the technology. Okay, what else do they need? They need to be able to have the ability to print. Well, what did they just do at the end of last year? They got 1 million square feet for printing. Okay, so then you give yourselves a 36-month or 48-month timeline to be able to hire up and train and teach and secure people, or you're so far advanced that you actually don't need people. You're able to just use robots, manufacturing robots, so you don't need the people. So all you need is the time. Printing on demand doesn't feel like it's too far of a stretch for in-demand sets.
I feel like they would have done it already.
They didn't have the space. You can't make space overnight. If you're 9 months, behind the curve printing right now, how do you shore up 9 months? You gotta have space.
And yeah, we talked about that. We talked about how Pokemon's like a cruise liner, and once anything done, it takes a long time to turn a cruise liner on a 90-degree and get to where you want to be. But I also want to recognize that the amount of layers that go into a company that large to do print to demand just seems way too astronomical to overcome, in my opinion.
Fair.
It doesn't matter how much money and space you have. I just feel like at the level that you're talking and the amount of communication and lines that you would have to make sure that,
Okay, so there's a thing that happens, and you're aware of this. There's a thing that happens when you have the right people in the room. You have the people that are handling the daily processes of your business. They're functioning at a high level, and I'll just make it up. From an efficiency standpoint, they're running at 92.5% efficiency for what the stated goals are for the company, and it's being held down. And there are no fires, and there is no global pandemic to do anything, right? So you've got 5 or 6 years out of your past 30 years where you're just killing it and you're doing a good job and everything seems to be in a good spot. When you have the right people in the right chairs, your leader, the guy driving the direction of the cruise liner, the captain of that cruise liner, has made a course change years ago that are not obvious to the public and even the rest of the company until certain things start coming out. So think of it as a spectrum of changing direction. One side of the spectrum is, hey, they saw an opportunity. Excel is owned by a family. I don't know. I'm just making it up. And they decided to get out of the business. And one of them sent a LinkedIn message to Pokemon of America's, head person and said, hey, you want to buy our distributor company? It's a fire sale. And they said yes. That's one side, right? No plan, but a great opportunity. That's one side of it. The other side of it is their CEO has strategically been planning to be inside of the distribution game in North America for the last 4 years, post-COVID. And they were waiting for the right moment. And they probably negotiated with MJ Holdings and Excel and whoever else at the same time. And this is just the next stage of their phase. This is the next phase of their plan to be able to go to this end goal. We don't know. I don't know. I'm just offering conjecture on why would they do this? What is the thought process behind it? And on-demand printing seems to line up with some of the other decisions that they made. In 96 to 2002, generally, they did print Team Rocket in 97. It says they hit 500 million cards of Team Rocket. So the totals that they printed 14 billion cards from 96 to 2010. It's 14 billion. So that's 14 years, a billion a year, right? And then from 2016 to 2019, they went up 7.3 billion. So in 3 years, they went up 50%. So what took them 14, they increased by 50% in 3. So you've got an exponential scale happening here.
Yeah, people don't realize. People complain like, Pokemon, why don't you print more? Just print more. It's like, dude, they print more and more every year. If you go and look at the statistics.
From 2020 to 2021, they did 3.7 billion cards.
Yeah.
And then every year since then, 22, 23, 24, and 25, they've done on average 10 billion cards.
Yeah.
So they took their scale. Their first 16 years, they did 14 billion. And last reported was 2024 to 2025, they did 10.2 billion. So if their efficiencies and economy of scales are starting to kick up and they can get to a spot where they recognize the ability, as opposed to some other card games where they just simply print 1.5 billion of each common and uncommon and then put them together in a pack and send them so that they have no value 3 or 4 months after release. Instead of doing that, if they could selectively choose what sets are in high demand based off what the actual market demand of their product to them currently is unknown. They print X, it all sells out of what they're able to gather metrics on, right? So they print, making it up, 1 million booster boxes, and a week later they have 0 of those in inventory. They win, right? Good for them. Pokemon does not know what consumer demand is for their individual product. All they know is what they print. If you're selling sandwiches, if you have a sandwich you're in a school and you know that every day you make 20 peanut butter and jelly, 20 ham and meat, nothing else, and then 20 ham with mayonnaise and lettuce and pickles, right? And all of them sell out. You don't know which one is people's favorite. Just the only thing you would know is the time at which you sold out of one, right? But that doesn't necessarily tell you. If you made sandwiches on demand, you would then realize that everybody loves whichever one, right? Peanut butter and jelly. And you don't even need to go buy ham anymore because everybody wants peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And so that allows you to increase your efficiency and increase your net revenue because you no longer have to buy lettuce and pickles and mayonnaise because who's putting mayonnaise on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? And all you have to do is buy peanut butter and jelly and bread. Then all of a sudden you save money because your inputs cost less. And you recognize that, hey, every day when I sell 60 sandwiches, 59 of them are people that enjoy peanut butter and jelly. And this one guy he's like, I wish you had ham, but he still buys the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Then you're able to have efficiency there. And so, man, I don't have a master's or doctorate in operational efficiency or production level. I don't have a master's there, but I am fully aware of how Japan revolutionized the operational and manufacturing world in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. I recognize that they are world leaders at efficiency gain. And so I just lean into my bias that a Japanese company is going to try to attain the highest level of efficiency. And where do I see efficiency gains in Pokemon, the card game? And that would be knowing, which products sell the best. We talked about that. Why do they have all these SKUs? Can they simply just provide single packs, raise the price to $5.50 or whatever MSRP is, and stop doing 3-packs, stop doing 2-packs, stop doing sleeves, and only do single packs and allow people to buy that and recognize that that is the single driver of all of their revenue. They don't have to buy cardboard for boxing or plastic or any of that stuff ever again, right? Is that the biggest efficiency gain that they can come up with? So yeah, I got pretty excited about that because that's a lot of nerd stuff. That's a lot of business stuff.
No, and it's important to talk about. So we're trying to get ahead of the curve, but
you did this middle before I could even take a breath as I was just running right down the mountain. I think the key takeaways here are the short-term impact is nothing, is my take. So here's my take. Short-term impact is nothing. We could see anything along the spectrum of nothing to a print-on-demand type environment by 2030, 2031, 2032 for Pokemon product. Local card shops, the impact, we don't know yet. Currently, Excel doesn't distribute there. So any energy spent getting upset about this announcement seems like it's wasted energy. And then from a consumer standpoint, if you think that this is a Deus Ex Machina type event where Pokemon is descending from the clouds to save you from having to buy packs on Facebook Marketplace. I don't believe that to be true either. This is not that type of event either. Just like the additional million square feet for Millennium Print Group doesn't have an impact till probably middle of Q2, Q3 of 28.
I agree.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Okay, so I want to talk about Ninja Spinner, which releases March 13th. As we know, Pokemon doesn't really like slow down when it comes to releasing sets. It's just bang, 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 one after another. It's projected to be our Chaos Rising. We talked a little bit last week about Abyssai.
Yep.
And Storm Emeralda.
Yep.
And the more I'm thinking about this, if Ninja Spinner is correlated to Chaos Rising, then Perfect Order feels like it's correlated to Journey Together.
Yeah.
Which would mean Chaos Rising and Destined Rivals would line up. Destined Rivals was Heatwave Arena and Glory of Team
Are you talking
Rocket.
about a time of delivery or?
No. I'm talking about set size is where I'm going with this.
Got it.
So that's why I bring up Abyssai that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
So
you think Abyssai and Storm Emeralda will get put together?
I think Abyssai and Ninja Spinner will be put together to make up our Chaos Rising set because of the time frame and the way it lines up with Destined Rivals, Heatwave Arena, and Glory of Team Rocket.
Okay. So Abyssai is May 22nd.
Right. So we got Destined Rivals, I want to say the end of May last year.
I don't think you're. As the more I think about this, what was the release date for Heatwave?
Heatwave came before Glory of Team Rocket.
Yeah.
So Glory of Team Rocket, if that dropped in early May and Abyssai drops in early May, then it all lines up to where Abyssai and Ninja Spinner will make up Chaos Rising.
Heatwave dropped March 15th. Glory of Team Rocket dropped April 18th. So I don't think we have an April set dropping.
Okay, so
they're skipping a month here between. We'll see. Nile Zero is a 1-to-1 with Perfect Order.
Right.
And then you've got Abyssai in May and Storm Emeralda on July 31st. So this was a back-to-back March 14th and April 18th. So that was a, 34-day.
Yeah.
5-week. That was a 5-week turnaround. When did we get Destin?
Destin was the end of May, I think. It was like May 27th or something.
May 30th. Yeah.
May 30th.
So a full 5 weeks after.
Me trying to guess the exact date as to when Destined Rivals. May 27th at 3:03 p.m.
Okay, so it was Heatwave. 5 weeks later, it was Glory of Team Rocket. 5 weeks later, it was Destined Rivals.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So if we have.
Because I don't remember the last time we had this many 1-to-1 sets released from Japan to English, unless they're going that direction. Because you had Inferno X that went to Phantasmal Flames.
Right.
You've got Nile Zero that goes to Perfect Order.
Yeah.
And then Ninja Spinner straight to Chaos Rising. It feels like we're due for a combined Japanese set into an English set.
Right. Okay. There's additional things here. So they've got historical, and I'm looking over here at our Japanese acrylics. So Ruler of the Black Flames was Obsidian Flames, right?
Yes.
And then what's the next set over there? Cyber Judge.
Paradox Surf is after Obsidian Flames. So it'd be Ancient Roar and Future Flash.
Yeah.
And then
you got Raging Surf and whatever the other one is there. So my thought goes to how long is this mega block? Because it doesn't feel like it's going to be a 14 to 18 set block.
I agree. And we talked about that a little bit before. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but it feels like this is a sub block almost.
Yeah.
That's why, and we'll get to this in Tinker Time a little bit. Gen 10 could be dropped on Pokemon Day because we're getting ready to get at the sub block and move into.
When did they drop Mega? September?
Mega Evolution was September 28th at 4:02 p.m. Pacific time.
When was released Mega Evolution? So, yeah, September 26th. So, end of September.
That's close.
So, did they run a 1-year block for Mega?
So, how did they do it so it's Sword and Shield to Scarlet Violet? What was before Sword and Shield? Wasn't there like a sub block?
No, I think it's just Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon base through Cosmic. And then before that, you had X and Y. which was long. Each one of these is 3-ish years because they went with the video games, and then Black and White, and then before that Heart Gold, Soul Silver. That was a smaller set. That was a smaller block. Platinum was only 4 sets: Arceus, Supreme Victors, Rising Rivals, and then Platinum Base. So once again, breaking from the norm. 3 years for Sun and Moon, 3 years for Sword and Shield, 3 years for Scarlet and Violet, and now we're in this weird mega world. Are they going to do 18 months? Are they going to do 12 months? September of 2026, hot take, Jack, are we entering a new block? Are we in Gen 10?
No. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to get a Gen 10 reveal, but the game won't release until late next year. And so I think
late 27?
I think they're going to ride DLC for Z to A for the rest of this year through mid to late 2027. And we'll be dealing with the Mega Block until then. That's just how I see it in my brain mapping out.
Okay, so...
But to be fair, they announced Z to A at last year's Pokemon Day, and then it dropped in October, like...
Wasn't...
6 months later, I think. Am I wrong on that, chat?
Wasn't Rapid Strike Urshifu and Single Strike Urshifu, that was DLC for Sword and Shield. And so was Calyrex. Ice Rider and whatever the other one is. Dark Rider. That's...
So Paradox Rift is the DLC for Scarlet Violet.
Yep.
So we got that as like the 4th set in.
Correct. And same here, right? Chilling Rain's a little bit later. But Battle Styles, right? That's set, let's see, Sword and Shield Base, Rebel Clash 2, Darkness Blaze 3, Champion's Path 4, Vivid Voltage 5, Shining Fates. And then Battle Styles. So the 6th and 7th sets in Sword and Shield were DLC. But then you hit Brilliant Stars, friend. Brilliant Stars was Legends Arceus.
So they just basically combined the Legends.
So Brilliant Stars, Astral Radiance, then they did Pokemon Go, and then they did Lost Origin and Silver Tempest. And Silver Tempest, Lugia as like the main hit out of that.
Right.
That's not really tied to a video game. So when we look at Scarlet and Violet, Prismatic Evolutions, I'm not saying that that Terra Pokemon.
Scarlet Violet ended with Destined Rivals. That like Team Rocket and
correct. But and then Black Bolt, White Flare.
Yeah,
right.
Like, that didn't have anything to do with.
So
Scarlet
then the
Violet
new game comes out, and we get these megas, right? And we're however many sets in. What are we? Base, Phantasmal, Ascended, and Perfect. So we're about to be 4 sets in. Yeah, I wonder. So they do. Is that 10 sets that they then do if they release in 2027?
That sounds right.
They need some help.
They do 12 sets for Scarlet Violet? No, they did 10. 10.5 was Black
They
Bolt.
did 14. So 3.5, 4.5, 6.5, 8.5,
oh, yeah,
and 10.5. So they did 15, sorry.
Yeah, you're right.
And so...
You're right.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what the plan is here, and... That's what makes this kind of fun is we don't know what the expectation is. We don't know where the future is here with the card game, which is fine. But it means it's kind of like unknown and it's fun when you get a release, right? Like it keeps you interested. If we knew everything,
got Krause all giddy over here.
Yeah, like Jack this morning told me about Deoxys got released today. There's 4 different Deoxys, all 4 forms.
That's right.
Ninja Spinner. I love me some Deoxys, right? He's like the little alien guy that's got different forms he can change into. And
I wonder if we'll get illustration rares for all 4.
Oh, that would be great. Like 5 sets seems too minimal if they were to release Gen 10 for September of this year. Back to this cultural thing about Japanese, specifically like Nintendo and Pokemon, they don't have a problem delaying if the product is not good.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to rush a product to hit a deadline if they don't think it's going to match. So in that, I think that they would be conservative and give themselves enough time for this block. I don't think they introduce a new gimmick. I think they continue with the megas.
I think you're right.
Maybe they've got.
What if they did? But they're like, you know what? Screw it. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do megas, and then we're gonna terrestrialize the megas.
Yeah.
And then we'll do stellar megas.
Yeah.
And
right.
they'll just Dynamax them. What if they bring back Dynamax?
Right. So that's a thing in the game. They've released. Have they released 2 DLCs or just 1?
The Raichu was one.
That was part of the pre-order, I thought.
Dimensions, wasn't it?
Legends ZA, Mega Dimension, Hoopa's in it, which is cool. It doesn't look like they've announced a second one. What if they over the summer or at Worlds release DLC 2, right? Because they've done multiple DLCs.
Yeah. They
did that in Scarlet and Violet. You got Terapagos as one, and then you got Pecharunt as the other one. So they could do that, and then they can milk a couple more sets out of that. Because in a DLC, you could then introduce. I mean, there's all sorts of ideas, and I think the crowd would go. There'd be collective groans. But what if you transported from Lumiose to Kanto, right? Now,
They said they're feeling Cantonia.
yeah, right. So if they do that, that's a thing. And then all of a sudden, what if you were able to mega all 151, or not all 151, but all the OG, and then they could figure out a cash printing machine that you just paid $10 to go to, Johto and Hoenn and Sinnoh and Unova and Kalos and Alola and Galar and Paldea, right? And they released, so I'm combining two things here. They just released these 30th celebration graphics for each Pokemon.
Yep.
What if as a function of that, what if that was the byproduct of them figuring out what the mega evolutions are for all of the basic and stage 2 Pokemon? Right? What if that was hey, while you're doing this, and then all of a sudden you pay, what is it, $90? You pay $90 for 9 different portals to each of the locations. Each of the regions.
Yep.
And now you can just, you see a mega evolved Toxtricity just rocking around in Galar, or Alola, whatever. Is it Galar? It is Galar.
It would be cool, but I just feel like for the 30th, they're going to do their own standalone thing. It's just not going to be.
But they're only going to...
You're only bringing up 30th because you said the 30th logos.
Right, but I'm saying they can't milk 5 sets out of 30th.
They might.
Okay, you're fair. Right, we don't know. That's true.
All right, let's close this thing out. Let's move on. All right. Tinker time.
Love it.
All right, so
what are we talking about today?
As you guys know, we got Pokemon Day this Friday,
okay.
8 a.m.
Okay.
And so what we're going to do is live stream it. So you should come hang out with us if you don't have a life. Only if you don't have a life. If you have a life, go do your life things. And if you don't, come hang out with me and Krause Friday morning, 8 a.m. And Chewy. Yep. Chewy will be there.
Special guest star.
Yeah. So in the spirit of that, I want us to imagine a Pokemon Day bingo.
Okay.
What that is I basically want you to give me the closest you can get or think you can get to what Pokemon Day will announce, whether that's a new game, DLCs, new card gimmick, whether it's, I don't know, Gen 10 being revealed, 30th collection set reveals, whatever it could be. And I'm going to make a bingo card out of this. And when we do our live stream Friday morning, we're going to see who got closest depending on our two ideas here. Now, a bingo card needs like 9 spaces. I don't expect you to come up with 9 different things.
No, it needs like 25.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you need 24 because the middle one's free, right? So you got to have 5 down for being BINGO.
Right. Here's the problem with this. Last Pokemon Day, we got pretty much nothing. Like, they said, hey, Legend Z to A, here you go, guys. Have fun with this. And that was kind of the end of it. Yeah. So we'll see how this goes. But I'll let you kick us off.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple gimmies, right? If you had 24 spots, I think 8 of them are taken up by the generation something. So Gen 2 something, Gen 3 something, Gen 4 something, Gen 5. Like, give us information about specific gens.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So that I just did a third of my spots. I think that they will have...
Or you know what we'll do to make it easier? We won't make it a competitive thing. We'll just say combined and see how close we can get.
Sure. I think they'll announce some level of epilogue to ZA, like they did with the Loyal 3 and Pecharunt in Scarlet and Violet. So there'll be an additional DLC that gets announced. I think they'll give us an update on the new 1v1 Pokemon fighting game that they introduced at Worlds.
Okay.
I think they're going to talk more about Pokemon, is it day and night? There's a new game. I don't know what that is, but I think that there's something about that.
I forgot about that.
Because, reminder, Pokemon knows that we all watch for the last 4 minutes about the card game, but they're going to stuff a bunch of their other IPs in there.
Yeah.
They're going to talk about their latest Netflix show, whatever that is, their cartoon. They're going to talk about Pokemon Go, some update, what's coming to Pokemon Go, Mega something or Dynamax, whatever. I think that there's a potential that they talk about backwards compatibility with Legends ZA and Legends Arceus to Pokemon Home, because currently you can transfer Pokemon from Pokemon Home into those games, but you can't bring them out. And so I would love that. I think that would be great. Card game specific, I think they release more cards of the Ninja Spinner set. I think they give us more. Okay, now we're getting into no way in hell is this happening. I would love to see a Dragon type Eevee. I would love to see a flying Eevee. I would love to see a poison Eevee.
Well,
right?
Okay, what about Gen 10 reveal?
Gen 10 reveal.
Could be some new evolutions in there.
When is the last time we had a new evolution?
Sylveon.
In
Sword
3? No.
Was that late?
No.
I don't know.
Evolutions. So Gen 1 was Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon. Right? Gen 2 was Espeon and Umbreon. 4 was Leafeon and Glaceon. And then 6 was Sylveon.
It was 6.
6 is what? Kalos?
Yeah. Which is
9,
the Megas.
8, 7, 6.
So
yeah,
it's
Kalos.
been
So
9.
it's been a minute. Kalos is Sun and Moon, right?
Kalos is Gen 6.
Kalos is X and Y.
Yeah.
Sorry, Black and White. No, that's 5.
No.
Yeah, X and
5
Y.
is black, white. Yeah.
Holy cow. So
Yeah.
Sylveon was new in X and Y, which if you walked in here with a binder of X and Y cards, I would be like, bro, you old. Right? So would love to see a dragon or a flying or a poison or a rock. Trying to think, they got
Ghost.
Ghost is just Gengar.
A bug type Eevee.
Bug type would be dope. Yeah, come on.
Bugby.
Give me a little like mouth that goes like this, like a grasshopper.
Like Predator from.
Yes, that'd be awesome. Or give me they did a thing in Sun and Moon. I think it was Sun and Moon with Null type, the Silvally.
Oh yeah.
Give me a evolved Eevee that is no type, right? That has resistance
Colorless.
to everything.
Yeah.
Right? That would be cool.
I do think there's going to be heavy Rayquaza featured
Yeah. Because of
the Storm Emerald set we're going to get.
Which, once again, from a lore perspective, don't get me wrong, I want more Rayquaza. But if you're going to have Rayquaza, you got to have Groudon and Kyogre.
Yeah, they might be like the start of the video, and
Wasn't
then Rayquaza
there-
takes over.
Wasn't there a rumor about like a full Gen 3 set?
Yes, which is why I think Rayquaza is going to get a feature.
Okay.
Um,
They're totally going to talk about their new Kanto Park in Japan. Like
Yes.
their new theme
Yeah,
amusement
that's true,
park.
too. I also think, I hate this, but I do think they're going to bring back Dynamax.
Okay. The new mechanic. I was going to
think
say, hey,
that'll-
there's some new mechanic coming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that'll be the
Dynamax.
next mechanic. They're going to revisit Dynamax and make that a thing again. We'll have EX Max or whatever on the cards. And then I also think there's going to be, in some way or fashion, they're going to do something with the 1,025 logos that they created for every Pokemon. Those will be involved in some kind of product or some kind of DLC or whatever, or some kind of sub-series set of Pokemon cards. What if the 30th celebration set was they just printed 1,025 cards
With
worth
a
of every
stamp on it.
Pokemon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be dope.
That could very well be
In
what they do.
In 3 card packs. Yeah, I think it's great. I would love it. I think that it makes a ton of sense.
You asked me what I think they could reprint for Celebration set. I said Legend cards. If you could pick one card for them to reprint that they haven't done already, so you can't say Gold Stars, you can't say Primes,
I think it's tag teams.
reprint Tag Team
Yeah.
for Celebrations,
Yeah.
that'd be dope.
So I didn't know this because I wasn't in it, but Arceus Dialga Palkia was a super duper busted card. Super duper strong. Using its tag team GX ability, you got 1 extra prize card for the rest of the game.
For the rest of the game. And all your attacks did 30 more damage.
And you did 30 more damage.
For the rest of the game.
And so, but it got shut down from a TCG standpoint because of COVID. So it didn't really hit its prime because COVID came along and shut down most of the tournaments where it was legal. And so it never had a chance to really, really be awesome. My gut says...
What did they call those attacks? They're GX attacks?
Yeah, the GX attacks.
What if they did that and brought back V-Star attacks?
Yeah, like the one-ofs?
Like one of a game.
Yeah, so that's like the Dynamax. Like that's the one gimmick per era type environment, which we went from, where did we go? We went from GX to V-Stars to...
No, GX to VMAX to V-Star, and then we went to Terra, and then Stellar, and then now we're in the Megas again.
Yeah, so we're back to Megas. So
Yep.
Dynamax makes sense. The one-of attacks makes sense per game. But I saw a recent statistic of the top 10 cards since 2020 that have been graded by PSA, and the Hidden Fates, is it Hidden Fates?
The Hidden Fates promo?
With the three
Stained Glass Birds?
Yeah, Stained Glass Birds.
That was 10. That was
is
number 10.
on the list, right? Which means that everybody's aware of what a tag team is.
Mm.
And so you put together the Arceus, Dialga, Palkia. I don't know which one. I prefer the statue one, right? That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Of that, because there's multiple arts of that card. But even the stained glass, it wouldn't surprise me if they stuck a 30th logo on the stained glass and threw it out there for everybody to get.
They could do that with multiple promos.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
Espeon,
surprise me
Deoxys, all of them. Garchomp, Giratina, let's go.
Okay. I'm sniping this from Andrew Mahone. He had an idea. He thinks that they're going to do like a classic collection reprint.
Okay.
But then, since it's the 30th anniversary, there's going to be 30 unique, brand new cards. They only do 30 of.
Okay.
That'll be just completely brand new in their own like standalone world of whatever gimmick or however they want to do it. Illustrations or however they do it. Mega Attack Rare or however.
Yeah. Which would be cool. If they did Mega Attack Rares.
30 mangas.
30 mangas would be cool. And the other thing, too, is what if they did like a tag team style art card, but with... like the Loyal 3 or the 4 legendaries from Scarlet and Violet. Like, that would be...
New tag teams.
That's what I'm saying. Like tag teams, but have them be new. So,
Ride on tag team?
Yeah,
That'd
right?
Be sick.
That'd be cool.
That'd be dope. I can find that.
There's some stuff there. Or tag team of new Pokemon is cool. Also, special illustration rares or illustration rares of old Pokemon would be cool. Like the Crystal Lugia or, even, it's going to happen, but even like base set Charizard that's been printed, I don't know, 1 quadrillion times.
Full art version.
A full art version, the full card.
That's already like all over Twitter, X or whatever.
Stuff like that. And they're
still the e-readers.
They're still e-readers. I could
those.
also see them doing... Pokemon knows what they provided for league champions and for, they used to have worlds, and before worlds they had like nationals. You had nationals, you didn't necessarily have regionals or ICs. They could also reprint all of those cards for the Celebration collection or the most famous one or whatever. And
Tropical Beach.
Yep, Tropical Beach. I feel like Tropical Beach is almost a staple in any GLC deck.
Yep.
And it's not a 10-cent card. It's an expensive.
It's expensive.
I think it's the most expensive card in a GLC
So
deck.
the problem is, most of the copies of that are from World Championship decks that have the wrong back.
Yeah. Another thing that they did in Sun and Moon that they haven't done is your protagonist got cards. Red got a card. Blue got a card. Right.
Oh, trivia question.
Okay, I'm not going to answer it.
You might know it.
Okay.
First supporter card to ever get a full art version of a trainer.
No idea.
No, you want me to take a stab?
All right, so Professor Oak.
No. N.
Okay. Yeah.
Which was the first version of Iono.
Yep. Way back when.
Yeah. So that they could bring that back.
Yeah. There's lots of things that they could do. I would love to see a Professor's Research full art that has all the professors in it.
That'd be sick.
That'd be cool, right?
Yeah.
Just all of them sitting around like in the teacher's office.
What if they did it like the Paldean Fates Clive SIR?
Yeah,
so, but they're all like little
guys.
Two
Love it.
professors.
As long as it's not UG, whatever the guy that did the Bubble Muse, so that it's not $1 billion.
Oh, Uzman?
Yeah, as long as it's not him, I'm good.
Yeah.
The other thing too could be the opportunity for some of the current top tier artists to do some staples, right? Get a classic Mewtwo pose or Mew pose or Kyogre pose or Groudon or whatever, and give them to some of the best artists that we currently have. Give Conda a card, give Rend a card, or whatever people's favorite. Those are mine.
So what they did with the Legends cards is they actually had 2 artists collab. Those aren't done by the same artist. So if you had like, what if you had like a Kirigawa and Shinji Kanda
Yeah.
did like a
Yeah.
collaboration
Or-
tag team art?
Once again, whoever, I think it's dope. One of the cool things they did too back in the V Worlds was they did the V Unions. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I can see one. Most of those V
Now
Unions,
you're trying to start a war. The
We're
V
co-
unions have a very divided fan base.
yeah, but they're out of rotation. Nobody cares. But do the V Unions where you've got multiple artists on the card. Because
Yeah,
like
like
the Pikachu, I think all of them.
All of them are different. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all, it's a collab. It's like, hey, top by card or popularity or whatever, the top 50 artists. Hey, each of you, I need you to do a 1/2 inch by 1 inch version of Greninja or whomever, right? Lugia. Everybody does a Lugia, and we're going to throw it all on a card. I think that would be cool, like a real celebration. Get who's the artist that did base set Charizard?
Mitsuyo Arita.
Yeah. So Arita also did. I mean, he's
He did the
still around.
Blastoise from 151. He did the Mewtwo from Ascended Heroes.
He did Absol in Phantasmal
Yep,
or Mega.
Mega Evolution.
Right.
Yep.
So he's still around. Get him and get all the other artists to put together their version of what Ditto is. I'm just, like.
They all do Garbodor.
Yeah, come on, give us
Trash
Garbodor, right? Or whomever.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think it'd be really sick. Even you did like tag team artists,
Yeah.
and it would be like Shinji Kanda, Kirigawa, Don Chow, and Jerky,
Yeah.
or something like.
Yeah.
Just really, that'd be really cool.
I think another thing too.
I don't think there's a big enough fan base that appreciates the art, that knows who the artists are,
Yeah.
to really make that work to where Pokemon would be invested in something like that. But it'd be really cool if they could. What if they do 30 full art cards, but they all connect?
Oh, sign me up.
So if you have all 30 of them, you can make like a mosaic
Dude, I am
of
such
30.
I am. It can't be 30. We can't do 30. It needs to be either 9 or 12.
No,
so it fits in a
You
binder.
get that out of here. Get that weak sauce out of there.
Oh, man.
We're going 30. You got to get 30th celebration. You got to have all 30.
So I didn't know how we were going to squeeze this in here, but here we are. Scarlet and Violet had 3 separate
Yes.
connecting arts, all done by 3 separate artists, but split out over multiple sets.
Yeah, it was a Tizero.
Tizero did the
Ozaki.
middle one. Ozaki did the first one, or maybe the third one. Ozaki did the third one. There was an Obsidian Flames, so connecting art set.
Who was the last one?
It's the first one.
Okacheke?
Scarlet and Violet is
Throwing these up so you guys can see them.
that's Ozaki, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got that, and then of course the Crown Zenith Galarian Gallery.
Right.
That existed, and then.
But everybody knows about those. If we're talking specifically about
Tizero.
these are
And
like
then,
common cards.
you don't think I pronounce it right, but Hyogonosuke.
Hyogonosuke.
Yep. So those 3 sets exist in commons and uncommons over multiple sets that give me the same level of dopamine as pulling a big hit when I'm looking for like a specific Lotad or a Togepi or a Wattrel in a specific set going through bulk. And so when you lay those out, all those connecting artworks. Now, I think most of those people don't know them, right? They're not necessarily aware. People are aware of like the Deerling and Stantler.
Yeah.
And
so
then,
like the 1 and 2s, everybody
like the
pretty much knows.
Perrin and Hisuian Growlithe.
The reason these are so cool is because they're not illustration rares. They're just common cards.
And they're
that
spread
you
out
would
over
never
sets.
know.
There's
Yeah.
like 3 sets.
Yeah. It's super cool.
And so if they were able to pull that off with full arts in this, I think it would be fantastic, especially if they were different artists.
It's like little clever things like that.
That increase
go
the
a long way.
collectability a significant. It's a small thing that they do on the input that has a large impact for other people and gives you a desire to do things like if they're high value cards like the Growlithe and the Perrin, getting them graded consecutively.
Maybe that's not even a thing Pokemon told them to do. Maybe that's just
What the
Tizero and
artist did.
Ozaki's like way.
gotta sign
like
these.
they make a giant mosaic, right? And then they just, to make it easy on them, they just chop it up and they're like, all right, here's this card, here's
I'd
that
love
card,
it.
this card.
I'd love it if that's
You know?
the way that they did it.
You know what I
That
mean? Like-
yeah. Hey, you've got 9 cards over the next 3 sets, or 6 cards over the next 2 sets. You get 4 in this one and 2 in this one. He's like, you know what?
Yeah, just I'm gonna chop them up.
just-
I'm done for 2 years.
I'm
I
gonna do
get
it.
my commission.
I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Cool,
love
good
it.
stuff.
I love it. Okay, well there's your Tinker Time. I don't think we hit 24, but I think we got pretty close for bingo.
I'll make it work.
Yep.
I'll find a way. So yeah, come hang out with us on Friday morning at 8 a.m.
Yep.
If you're not doing anything and want to see what's going on with Pokemon. I don't think we can actually show live what's happening.
we'll just be reacting and having the volume so you
But
can
we'll watch
hear.
it with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll watch it with you. It'll be fun.
And Chewy will be there, which will be fun.
Yeah, it'll be
'Cause-
enjoyable. We're just gonna have a camera on him. He's not gonna talk.
Yeah.
It's perfect. All right, Krause out. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys.
Later, guys.
Dope sauce.